Hello everyone, I'm Silent Death, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Science Harder Campaign. We are continuing with our Eve mission. Our first step today is to do a plane change with the Eve satellites, the Eve comsats, adjusting their inclination so they'll be in an equatorial orbit. We don't have any fuel left, we're back to using solely RCS. So let's see if we can't pull this off. Guess I should have started burning a little bit sooner. Our thrusting, not really burning at the moment. But this will have to do. Just keep an eye on our inclination as it drops. And let's see, apoapsis is in a day and 3 hours. Okay, so that'll be our next thing. What is our acceleration? Quite sure. It doesn't tell me anywhere. Point 3, point 2, point 1. And that looks about as good as we're going to get. So you can just stop doing whatever it is you're doing. And then we'll set up another maneuver node at our apoapsis. And we'll want to just adjust our periaps so that we're barely grazing the altitude or the atmosphere. We're going to do multiple aero brakes to save as much fuel as possible and get us as accurately as we need to be. So I think that's a little bit much. What about we're shooting for an orbit of 1.121 million meters, which will give us an orbital period of 90 minutes. And still keep us in omni range. I guess 87 is probably about as good as we're going to get. So we'll leave that, and it's in 4 days. It says in 1 day. Why is that confused? Is that real life days? That must be it. Yeah, that has to be it. Is there a way I can change that? Well, anyway, I guess we'll be going to the Gilly lander next then. Here we are out of comm range, so we are relying solely on the flight computer to perform this maneuver, which is a very finicky maneuver since we're trying to get a Gilly encounter. So hopefully it performs it perfectly. We've throttled our engine down all the way to 5%. And we'll just have to see where this goes. Still only a tiny burn. Power is good. Everything else looks fine. Alright. It does look like we got the encounter. Periapsis of... Why is it changing? That's a little bit weird. Okay, just the time accelerated. I don't really want to switch to the Eve satellites. So I think we might just skip that, so that we can stay in this without having to worry about floating point errors and stuff when we switch between vessels. That is what we shall do. And I will be back once we arrive at Gilly. We are approaching Gilly. A few seconds until the SOI change. And there we go. Based on how things look, I'm not 100% sure we're going to be okay in comm range when we hit our periapsis, so we'll set up this. It's a little bit low. Okay, that's fine. Then we'll tell this, we want node, and then execute the node. Barely have enough time to pull that off. We must be going pretty quickly then. Alright, we shall... Actually, let's cancel this part. And let's up our throttling a little bit, so we can save a bit of time. Have to remember that this vessel is lopsided. Yeah, that saved us a couple minutes. The mass of this vessel is lopsided, I should say. Let's go ahead and lower the gears so that we don't forget. And then we can fast forward a bit. Back to our Eve sats. While we're waiting on the maneuver node, let's just go through the satellites and make sure they're properly targeted. Like anyone's targeted there. Well, that one's targeted Gilly. Okay. So one pointed at active vessel. One pointed at the polar sat. And possibly one pointed at Eve. Just for because. Oh, and we can do our burn now. There we go. Now it's flopping all around. There you go, just hold. Right, so that one's that one, and we'll do that with the other two. Then we'll switch over to our short-range satellites and get them aerobraking. These short-range satellites are going to drop their periaps just a tiny bit into the atmosphere. They're lucky, they still have fuel and everything, so they're not this bad to pull off. Though they have to actually be set up after the other satellites, since they only have the long-range thing on the booster stage. Perhaps 85, that's a little bit higher than I want. So put you to prograde, retrograde, prograde, fine. And then we'll just use some RCS. That's good there. Just kind of barely aerobrake you over the course of several orbits. It does need to drop into a much lower orbit, so it shouldn't be there before other satellites. And now we just need to aerobrake several times until we get close to where we need to be. And now the Mercury one is doing its burn. Though we missed it a little bit. We should still be okay. Plenty of Delta V. So this is just going to be another long fast-forwarding burn. Around and around we go. Doing a very slow, I guess, aerobraking repeatedly, so that we can have as much fine control as we need to get as close to our desired orbit as possible, and saving us as much fuel as possible. Followed by a little bit of a burn to raise our periaps once we get where we want to be. Due to low Delta V, we had to change our plans a little bit. Instead of going for a 90-minute orbital period, we ended up going with a 30-minute orbital period. Didn't have the fuel for the other one. But this should work, we hope. Uh-oh. Crap. Well, that's close enough, I guess. Switch these to balance. So they'll do better this time. And we'll drop this orbital period down a little bit. Not a full third, maybe just 5 minutes. Let's see where that leaves us in terms of Delta V. Might have to go with just like a minute and let it orbit 10 times. I think that's what we'll end up doing. This is a little bit too costly in terms of fuel. But we'll do that, and then we can go start fiddling with the short-range satellites. At least we can get pretty accurate with this. Okay. Back to other things. The long-range satellites get put into place, followed by the aero braking of the short-range satellites. A little bit more aggressive there than the other ones because they have more fuel. And now, the short-range satellites are also going to be in a 30-minute orbit. Difference being that we have more fuel for these. So, we can afford to be a little bit more aggressive in how we're adjusting our orbit. So we'll drop one off, then adjust this down to 25 minutes and drop one off each orbit, since we have 6 satellites. The only potential problem with doing things this way, we were planning on having the other satellites out a little bit farther. I'm not entirely certain that Eve won't block the polar satellite more than I was planning on it. But we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. The other satellites, the other 3 Eve satellites, do have long-range communication things that can talk to Kerbal. And I think we'll be okay. But let's fast forward through ditching some satellites, and then we can go back to the landers. And there goes the short-range satellites, one at a time being popped off, and their orbit being adjusted. Now that our satellites are in place, we can start focusing on our landers. Want to land in the daylight, obviously. Somewhere on the land, of course. So let's see, we'll adjust our periapts, our node on our periapts. How about, well, no, that's actually pretty good. It's a little bit bumpy there. 40, I think we have enough delta V to maybe bump it up into this flat area. A lot. A little bit more. And then we'll just tweak this a little bit. And make sure, well, it's going to be adjusting it for the wrong vehicle. So we're going to have slightly less drag. So we'll go a little bit long. Hopefully that'll work. Maybe just a tiny bit. Right on the shore. Okay, I'm kind of happy with that. Okay, actually we need to go short, don't we? Less drag, that means we'll go further. Yes. Aim for the middle. That should work. A lot of delta V, but we should be okay there. We still have 100 in this one and whatever's in this other stage. It should be a substantial. Let's move that down. Close the alarm. Let's align to the node. And then we're going to start burning. What's wrong? This one should be next. Oop. Oh yeah, these are the off-center ones. So hopefully this will still work. How much delta V do we have? We have enough. Barely. We're going to be landing whether we like it or not. At this point. Adjust you any higher? Getting a little bit wobbly right about there. Two minutes to burn. Might want to do something with this, but I think we'll be okay as far as communication goes. We'll make a quick save just in case. And if we have a communication issue, we'll come back and write a little program for our landing. I don't really think it's going to be necessary. We have all of our short-range satellites around here. And does that debris slow down enough for it to hit the Atmo? Can't really tell. Doesn't look like it. Too bad. Have to clean up some stuff. Alright, still a little bit more to go. Let's fast forward a bit. Still holding stable. Still good. 50 seconds. 30. 15. 3, 2, 1, cut off. I'll shut that a little bit. There we go. Now then, it thinks we're going to land a little bit too far, so we will retrograde a little bit. Why are you doing anything? Don't do that. Oh, we are completely out of fuel. Okay. I guess we're just gonna have to hope that something happens there to help us out. Let's go prograde. I'm just going to let that burn up if it burns up. Actually... That's the heat shield. I guess it's going to have to burn up, because I don't think we can do anything else. So that's here. Here. I guess that'll work. Okay, into that mode we go. Where we stop, we hope is land. Hitting the outer edges. Keeping our solar panels out for a little bit longer. Until we get probably in the 70-ish K range. We are now on an official re-entry orbit. Trajectory. Q is starting to go up, so we will retract those. Should be good. Should still be good on power. Ooh. Can't hold. That is not good. That is really not good. What if we do a little bit extra drag by doing some landing gear? Maybe if we only drag the landing gear that's on that side. Raise these legs. Let's see if that'll help. That's the wrong thing. Oh, this is terrible. Raise that leg. We do have connection, so we just cannot hold the right direction. And temperature is starting to increase. What's our speed? Is it safe to deploy a parachute maybe? Do a little bit of drag? We could arm the parachutes. I don't think we can deploy them yet. Don't have any drogue chutes. Temperature's actually going down. Alright, so maybe we won't have any re-entry hitting. Worth hoping about. Looks like we might still hit the water though. Just adjust all the legs. And let's get rid of that. Okay, why? I don't want to look at this. Why do you think I want to look at that? Yeah, that's definitely looking like we're going to hit the water. And there's really nothing we can do about it. Legs out, though. Still a long way to go. Okay, you don't know what direction you're facing. Face retrograde. Oh, science? Sure, why not? I think we have 2 of those. The temperature is a balmy purple. Still have a connection, that's great. Don't know why you're not adjusting properly. I guess it's still off-center in the terms of mass. Slowing down pretty fine without any shoots due to the just drag. Yep, going to splash down. 4,000 meters. We'll deploy the chutes. Might have been a little bit early, but better early than late. This might not work either. The chutes do not seem to be quite where we want them. Ah, well, at least we're landing in water. Oh, this is just so bad in so many different ways. Let's go ahead and deploy the solar panel so that we can charge before we splash down. And can we go ahead and transmit that one little bit of science that we got? Data, transmit this. Done and done. Did that do anything? Nope, nothing in our contracts. Okay. Maybe we should try... Oh, that was bad. So was that. Really? We barely moved. Okay. Things are not going well. It's a good thing you're expendable. We just need to land and transmit data before we run out of power. That's all we have to do. And hope that we don't explode or anything. Okay, yeah, I could have waited much longer for those parachutes. Could probably ditch one of them. Yeah, that makes things so much better. Oh, yeah. Screw things up even more. 600 meters and falling. Still quite slow, though. I think we're just going to retract the gear. I don't think they're going to help anymore. Not with the way we're going to land. Guess we might as well turn off SAS. It is not helping either. It's just draining our power. 200 meters. And plummeting. 100 meters. 50. 30. 10. And we made it in one piece. Hey, that's a surprise. Must be some pretty dense water. Alright, let's do a temperature scan. And then we will transmit it. And that finishes a contract. So, we have explored Eve. We have transmitted or recovered science from the surface of Eve. We have landed on Eve. Way to go, little guy. Way to go. Now then, we'll go to Gilly. Because we have a bit of a communication blackout. We're going to be burning our landing just kind of running here. Switch to orbital mode. And the sensor is just going to drop straight down. And this is going to be a little bit tricky because of the surface velocity. But we'll fall a bit. A lot. It's going to take a long time for us to get there. So I'll be right back. Alright, we're getting much closer now. Coming in about 20 meters per second. Cannot warp any faster. We can go with Physics warp though. 3,000 meters. And falling. 2,000 meters. A little bit of science. Temperature scan. Space near. That is really close. Space near. We're going to transmit that. That's one of our science things. 800 meters. We've throttled our engine down to 5%. Gives us about 0.87 meters per second. Impact time is in 20 seconds. So we should probably start burning. Impact time, 15 seconds. I think we'll be okay. $11. Slow down a little bit. 4 meters per second. $40 meters. Going to lock this. And down to 1 meter a second. Let's bring in the solar panels. So we don't bounce too much. Trick that a little bit more. And turn off SAS. Don't know if we're technically landed yet. There we go. Seismic scan and a temperature scan. I think we'll just go with the temperature scan. You were expecting Gilly to be a hot potato. You note your disappointment with the moon's cold surface. Gilly seems to be seismically as dead as a doorknob. Oh. SAS. Stay. No, this way. Really hard to do this. Let's go ahead and get the solar panels back out though. And I guess we can go ahead and transmit this. And that finishes our Explore Gilly contract. We have transmitted our recovered science from the surface of Gilly. We have landed on Gilly. Whoops. Hey, I was reading that. And we have transmitted our recovered science from a space around Gilly. Yeah, we can't transmit any more there. Alright. Now then, for the moment of truth, we will head back to the Space Center and see if we get the Explore dress or Explore Moho contracts. And it is not looking like we did. We get Bop and Pole, which is not what we wanted. Very much not what we wanted. So surveys of Gilly. That could be worth something. That's a lot of money. Tempting. But nah. Alright, there is one last thing to do this episode. But apparently, next episode we're going to try upgrading and see if we get new contracts after we upgrade. Which will bring its own set of problems, but it's the best we can do right now. Back at Gilly, we're going to use our Gilly lander To take the place, or to correct the issue we had since we had to abandon the third satellite here, what we want to do is first have the lander rendezvous with one of the satellites, which shouldn't be too hard. Due to the low speed and everything, we should just be able to point towards the target. More or less. There it is. Just make our prograde go that way. And now we're flying directly towards our target. Alright, we've got a closest approach within 1.9 kilometers of the satellite. So we will match our time of our maneuver node to that. Yeah, that's about right, because the maneuver node is a minute ahead, or the alarm for the maneuver node is. Now then, we want to match orbits, which means we're going to have to go a little bit radially, I think. Yeah, that's a bit much. And prograde. Perhaps is at 9. A little bit further over this way, and then drop the apoapsis a little bit more. And I think that may be a little bit more on the... That has our apoapsis where we want it. Apps is at 57, so that needs to be a little bit higher. Which means this kind of needs to move. Okay, that's about right. Okay, it looks like we need a little bit of normal too. Or anti-normal? One of those. Okay, not 1. 0.1 maybe? So it has us within 0.7 kilometers. So I guess that'll do. Alright, let's execute that burn. I think we'll use the computer for that. As it's kind of a finicky burn. At least we can warp faster now. Hopefully that nails his burn. Uh-oh, it's not focusing on the node. That would have been bad. $50 seconds. 20. And a tiny bit of burn. There we go. That looks pretty good. Sending node, I could adjust that, and I think I might just because I'm finicky. That's over there. We're with this one. At the maneuver at the ascending node. Means we need to go down a tiny bit. .1.0 right there. That works for me. Node that. Execute that. Warp a little bit more. And that should have us right in the same orbit. More or less. We can adjust this to make sure we're in a 12-hour orbit, but since we're going to change it immediately anyway, it's already drifted from its node again. $20, $10. Okay, perfect. Now then, we're going to change this from a 12-hour orbit into a 9-hour orbit, so that we'll end up right between these two satellites, and that way, when one is bouncing a signal off the polar satellite, it can use the lander to reach the other satellite, so we don't have the communication blackout issue that we're having. So let's do that. We will go get review. We want to go retrograde. And then just a 9-hour orbit. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, we're doing target retrograde. I want to go orbit retrograde. There we go. $10, $9.30. I don't have any RCS on this, so just have to fudge it a little bit. That looks good enough. Then we will add a maneuver node, add our apoapses, and then, you know, adjust it slightly. We have to eyeball it so we get a 12-hour orbit when we get back. Warp around. Now that's okay. Let's adjust that to the next orbit. And around and around we go. We have apparently lost communication. We out of power? But we have power, so it's just we're on the back side. Where is Eve? There it is. Might be that the polar satellite is out of communication too. Hope not. There we go. Everybody shoot back up. We're going slow, so I'll be right back. And our tiny little puff of a burn. 10 hours. 11. 11:48. 11:56. 12 hours and change. I don't think we're going to get much closer unless we use something like this. Can I do 1 millisecond burn? Oh wait, no, stop that. That's... Oh, it's thinking it's 1 minute. I don't want to do 1 minute. I want to do 0.1 seconds, maybe. Alright, that's actually as close as we're going to get. because it's drifting all over the place. And that is going to be it for this episode. Again, in the next episode we will be upgrading, so there may be some delay due to the technical issues that are going to be involved with that. Like if you like, subscribe if you're not, leave a comment if you have anything to say. I do read all the comments. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.